the technology. I'll try one more. Just really test how many I can put up. So I'll try 6. But you know, like I said, I watch old movies and gangster movies and this and that. People watch because they want to like vicariously pretend they're badass or like whatever. But I watch this and I sit there and I watch New Jack City or Scarface or American Gangster or something. And I'm just in there and things like, dude, there's no cameras, right? And how much more free that would be, you know. I love it when they pretend criminals are like dangerous or whatever. It's, well, yeah, cops are dangerous. Oh, that's not what you meant? See, the thing is with these non-state sanctioned gang members, these non-state sanctioned criminals, is that fundamentally it's a restricted group, right? Comparing it to the state, which is a criminal gang that extends across hundreds of thousands of square kilometers, and then that's every patch of dirt on the planet, and they all want to collude with each other, you know, across all those patches of dirt, and then so now there's nowhere to go. Like, what are you supposed to do? Go out 200 miles in the water and be like fucking Waterworld or something? Because they would do something about that too, right? But with goons on the, just bog standard street goons, the ones that aren't doing the bidding of the state, fundamentally their grasp is, the extent of their grasp is limited, right? It's like how many of these non-cop gangs are like in more than one city or something. Even if they're large ones, dude, like that's easy to get away from, right? Like if some random criminal that's essentially operating on their own, on of their own accord decides they want to try to murder me, rob me, whatever, I just go somewhere else, right? But when it's to such a broad extent, the technology stuff is not even really the main issue. Again, it's the human weaponization of everything. And so, Wi-Fi existing, okay, cool. Well, but last time I checked, whatever random thug running around in fucking Baltimore, or wherever, doesn't have access to fucking GLONASS and whatever other literal satellites in the fucking air to just track you everywhere, you know. But it's like, you know, that's the main thing. It's like names are surveillance, identities in general are surveillance, and that's why they want to restrict everything. You're not allowed to have a car unless it's your state sanctioned identity, and they allowed you to. You're not allowed to have a place to live without that. This is why I've always stayed at rooms for rent. And again, uh, privacy. You know, sometimes it's unsafe, and yeah, the problem with rooms for rent is that on one hand they don't know anything about you, and that does make you safer, and fundamentally you could just leave, right? But then the problem is that they could fuck with you, right? So like if I'm just paying somebody cash and they don't ask questions, now I have privacy. Now it's harder for other individuals to fuck with me. Um, but then the renter could fuck with me, right? And now I lose access to that opportunity. And for anyone that thinks it's it's criminals wanting to do this, the reason I've always been like this is for examples like this. And now this is an ex of mine I actually had harass me again, even recently. Well, not an ex, rather. We went on some dates that we were never together. But this is a motherfucker I've met in person a few times. We've talked on and off for years now, and he comes back all the time to harass me. The reason shit like this is so important is, 10-ish years ago, uh, there was a place I was renting a room at, and so I invited him over, and we just watched TV, and, we just talked while I was like, doing stuff on my computer and just normal shit like that. Well, we basically fell out. I just decided I didn't want to talk to him anymore. Sometime a year or so after that, this dude messaged me on Grindr to tell me that he had went back to where he knew I used to live, asking if I still lived there. See what I mean? So nutcases, if they know you're residing somewhere at a particular time, they'll fucking start stalking you like that. That's bad enough when it's some rando off a Grindr. How much worse is that when it's a fucking state-sanctioned death squad doing their little fucking inquisition, right? And that's the only difference between these groups, all right? Whether it's just some, random asshole or some non-state sanctioned gang or a state sanctioned one like the cops. The less they know about you, the safer you are. It's not about getting away with it. It's about not getting fucking murdered or who knows what. So I've literally always had to deal with shit like that. And that's the problem is, again, most motherfuckers don't have to think about shit like that. They've never been subjected to what the fuck I've been through in life. And you know what? If they were subjected to it, they wouldn't survive. But it's not a big deal to them to put your information on blah, blah. Oh, who cares? And I've had motherfuckers online peer pressure me before. They want me to play a game or something, let's say, and I check and it's like, well, this collects information on you or this or that. And then they're like, come on, right? Like, oh, okay, I'm the pariah because I don't want to have my information extorted, right? That's the thing. It's not about whether the information is out there. It's not about whether anybody has it. It's about the voluntary aspect of that. Like, I chose to give XYZ information to whoever, but also the ephemerality of it. They want to try to say where you're allowed to live. You got to have their permission. You got to pay for them to keep pretending it's yours, right? Or this or that, so they can restrict your movement. Like people talking about electronic vehicles, like they're going to restrict, or like California wants to not allow you to have gas powered, hedge trimmers or lawnmowers or whatever anymore. And then they want to say, oh, it's about restricting your travel, restricting your this or that. But they never noticed like how it was just always like that. They want to restrict where you're at, where you're allowed to go, where you're this, where you're that. Yeah, because they want to be able to find you. Okay, well, I don't want any nutcases on this planet being able to just run up on me. And so they don't want you to be able to just make a new email address, make a new phone number, just have a new place to live, right? If you ever, I'm wondering at this point what kind of hoops they want you to jump through to change addresses, right? So I don't change my address. So, that's one of those things, like a lot of my personal information, even if somebody found it, maybe they'd find out, my official address. That doesn't mean they know where I live. That doesn't mean they know where I'm at, right? And again, that makes me safer. But so like with rooms for rent, that's one of the big things. Like that in and of itself is dangerous, more dangerous than some alternatives, right? For the average. But for me, in a lot of ways, it's safer. But again, I'll take less safety, if it means, you know what I'm trying to say. I always forget the stupid phrase every once. You know what I'm talking about. Like I'll take dangerous freedom over safe slavery. And that's the problem, and that's why I'm just tired of it. I'm not genuflecting anymore. I've been through enough in life. I'm not jumping through these fucking hoops anymore. there's a limit to what I'm willing to tolerate at this point, and it won't go any further. And so if they want to lock down the internet, and like even if I'm living with somebody else, I can't even use their fucking internet, or they don't want you to because they don't want your stuff to be on their identity or something, like bullshit. Like, well, then whatever, I just won't do anything, I guess. Never needed the internet anyway. It was always evil. That's also why they want to shove everything onto the internet. They want these mega corporations to kill all the small businesses and put everything online, for this. And look, it's not this fake lie of the pejorative conspiracy theory thing. It's not like motherfuckers all sat around a round table with their hands together like, Shinji's dad. And it's like, yes, see, so what we're going to do first is create the state, then we're going to create computers, and then we're going to shift all stuff online, and then no, it's just motherfuckers create shit, and humans are evil, so they really quickly figure out unintended uses that allow them to maximize how much terrorism and oppression they can inflict. Humans only maximize depravity. So it doesn't have to be like some idiots got together and explicitly laid it out A to Z in a fucking meeting room somewhere. That is such a fucking canard, just a true straw man. Like, it doesn't have to be that. And something I always seen in the past, motherfuckers say that, well, what makes you think you're so important? And it's like, well, what makes you think you're so fucking important? I mean, the NSA's collecting all your shit too, right? But that's the point, though. The fact that you're not important is why they're doing it. That's why every group of humans that wants to inflict social terrorism on an innocent victim does it. It's specifically because they're not cared about. Yeah, I've had a lot on my mind lately. And if I didn't have the 15-minute limit, yeah, I'd probably do a fucking 3-hour video. But whatever, I didn't do that. And I don't know. I think I'm about vented out at this point. Not really sure what else to say. So I guess I'll just see if I can get all 6 videos up. And yeah, I know I still didn't say everything I wanted to say. I don't even remember what it all was, but I will when I start editing. And I know I didn't articulate it the way I wanted to either. Dude, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even venting doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm just probably going to go fucking, offline or whatever, get off the net, kind of go dark or whatever for a bit. Purely just, I just don't even want to be anywhere near the internet right now. Or at least not to this extent. I really just need to sort of retreat into myself for at least a little while and just try to fucking forget about this fucking prison reality. I just don't fucking get it, right? All the amazingness that this world could have in it, and these humans just want to make it all psychotic, evil shit, and just inflict all this fucking depravity on the innocent, rob love and happiness from the innocent, and give a bunch of shit to these guilty motherfuckers that aren't owed anything, and just want to just squander everything and whatever. And if I can figure out a decent phone service that'll let me change my phone number on my own for free, at least semi-frequently, I'm trying to get a phone service mostly to get a cheaper one. If I did find that, I wouldn't do that just for the sake of YouTube, but if I did find that purely for the sake of saving money and having more control over the phone, then I might eventually, verify an alt or whatever and be able to do 3-hour or whatever videos. But at this point, I just don't care. And that's another thing. If I get to the point they delete all my alts, ban me, and then I can't make any more, and I won't be able to make one without a QR code and phone number to even create one, or well, then fuck it, I'll never be on YouTube again. I should have just I don't know. I should have just never bothered with electronics, with technology. If I knew how evil this shit was, I would have never been fascinated with the shit. I would have never wanted to be anywhere around the fucking shit. I can't believe I started being obsessed with computers when I was 11 fucking years old. Reading magazines on computers and all this shit, and just, it's just wow. I don't know what to fucking say anymore. I guess I'll just end the fucking video there. Fuck.